song's hero, girl there blowing in the breeze. Come to climb the mountain, see if you can catch a glimpse of me today. 'Cause our love is golden light and strong enough to last the darkest night. And I'm a long lost sailor, stranded out at sea, pining for my homeland and the girl waiting for me back home. 'Cause our love is golden light and strong enough to last the darkest night. 'Cause our love is golden light, is strong enough to last the darkest night. And I miss my homeland, far across the seas, misty mountains and the rain just waiting for me back home. 'Cause our love is golden light, and strong enough to make the distance seem alright.
Good morning. My name is Karen King, and I'm a licensed Unity teacher here at the Port Townsend Spiritual Center for Enrichment. It's wonderful to see all of you light beings here today in this heavenly setting. We come here today to set aside all concerns about what's going on in the outer, and we focus on the inner being, our inner spiritual being. After all, we are all spiritual beings in the midst of a human experience, right? Okay, so we come here to fine-tune our skills and get in touch with that spiritual side of our personalities. Today we are also, it's a very special day because we're testing our new monitor system. And we've been buzzing around like bees, making sure that everything works and that we know what we are doing. So it's an exciting day. We've waited a long time to get this system up. And I feel very privileged to be one of the first ones that's using it. With the help of David and with the help of Glenn and Clara and everybody, this service is for you. This hour away from the outside world. And now it's time to light the candles. Well, the candles are lit already. David's taking care of that. And for those of you out there in Zoom land, I just want to welcome you and know that we consider you very essential to our service today. And if you have a candle near your computer or your phone, light it. Or maybe just turn on another lamp in the room and then turn it off at the end of the service. This helps you mark at the time that is so special to all of us on Sunday mornings. The topic for today is mind-body healing. And I just realized that my slides, the introductory slide is way outdated. It has my Tucson phone number on it. It also has my old initials after my name. I'm now a licensed Unity teacher and a practitioner in Centers for Spiritual Living. But let's begin this service now. Claire? If you have a bulletin there with you, let's say these words together. Unity is an authentic, transformative, spiritual community centered in God. We co-create a world that works for all. And now, let's sing I Am Home with
this road, and now I'm home. Shalom, shalom. In
Clara has an opening song for us.
Okay, so this first one you may know. This was by Alexa Sunshine Rose, who's been here before. And I also have a second song I didn't print up because it's so easy. You won't need it. So I better get in the right key here. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe, singing with the trees, singing with the song of the universe, singing with the waves, singing with the honeybees. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe, singing with the trees, singing with the song of the universe, singing with the waves, singing with the honeybee. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe, singing with the trees, singing the song of the universe, singing with the whales, singing with the honeybees. One more time. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe, singing with the trees, singing the song of the universe, singing with the whales, singing with the honeybees. That just was in my head for weeks. It can become quite the earworm. And then I have another chant for us that you don't need lyrics. I mean, we didn't print anything up because it's so simple. The words are, "We are holy, holy, holy," and you're going to sing that 3 times, and then "We are whole." We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. And Ron is going to help me keep you singing that, and I will sprinkle in a few other phrases. Okay? And this was written by Karen Drucker, one of her songs. She's the best chant writer ever. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. That's it.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are whole. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy.
You can feel the energy of that in this room. Truly so. Holy, holy, holy. We are whole. So, over the course of the next 2 Sundays, we're going to be talking about the mind-body connection and connected with spirit, and Karen's in charge of all that. But when I found unity, the thing that really put things in perspective was the take that we live in a spiritual universe that has spiritual laws, as well as a physical universe with physical laws. And they're not independent of one another. They're interconnected. And that was a big change for me, coming from a Lutheran upbringing and walking away from that when I was about 16, I think, 14 or 15 or 16, and going, this doesn't work. To coming back to discover that, actually probably did work, but rediscovering that there are there's some principles like gravity that are out there that are working all the time. The thoughts held in mind producing kind. Well, I didn't really think a lot about that until I really started studying that. And we create our reality through our thinking. How we respond to a circumstance is how we respond. The circumstance is the circumstance. We can embrace it and fall into it and work our way through it, or we can reject it and fight it and kicking and screaming and all those other kinds of things. We have that choice, and we're always in choice. So as I was looking up Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, see what he was about, there's some quotes I picked up with, and I thought, oh man, these are just kind of things that are universal that I've known about before, like that which you are seeking is seeking us, or we are the ones who are looking for or waiting for. I think that was Gandhi. Most people wait for something outside of them to change how they feel inside. Isn't that true? You know, I took a class one time and they said it was about grass is always greener, and the deal is, wherever you go, you take yourself. And so it doesn't matter if you go to a new pasture, you're still there. And so you got to clean up your own grass first. The subconscious is where all the bad habits and behaviors that you want to change reside. Now, every year in 1st of January, we do a burning bowl. And one of the things we try to do and get really intentional about is cleaning up our subconscious. First of all, identifying what it is we don't want to have show up in our life. Identifying what my part of that is, which is about 99% of it, and then keeping that intention throughout the year of removing those things. Because that subconscious is just your hard drive spinning around back there, and we can reprogram the hard drive, but you can't do it just a one-day shot or a one-moment shot. Very seldom does that ever happen. It happens over a period of time. And then he says, here's my definition of intention: getting clear on what you want. Wayne Dyer, Dr. Wayne Dyer said it this way. He wrote a book called You Get What You Really, 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 Really Want. That's what shows up in your life. We can say we want this, but we do that, and nothing changes. The emotion from the past experience is a chemical residue of that past. And one of the things that I learned over time is that those things that I thought I corrected, the wounds that I thought I healed, have a physical someplace in my body. And every once in a while, particularly my daughter, will trigger one of those chemical reactions, which usually goes in some kind of explosion. But, and it's so funny because you think, I think that I've erased all those things, and sure enough, something will trigger it, and you go like, I guess there's always something more to do. But anyway, we are the ones, we are who we practice to be. So if you practice gratitude, you become grateful. And think of all the other things that we can practice to become. That one of the keys of manifestation is to step into what it is you want to manifest. If you want to manifest more resources for some, step into being, what would you do with that resource? What does that look like? How would you give it away? How would it serve? Step into that place. So I may have a quarter in my pocket, and that's all the only quarter I have, and somebody's begging on the street. Do I keep the quarter or do I pass it on? If I really want to be abundant, I want abundance. Because the universe is here to support us, and does in myriad of ways. And finally, you can't wait for the healing you cannot wait for that healing to feel wholeness. You have to feel wholeness for the healing to occur. And last week I talked about the definition of a healer is a person that helps me find the key to the healing within. And Jesus has lots of examples about how he worked those miracles through unlocking the key for self-regeneration. So anyway, that should help us tee up our day as we become holy, 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 and holy. And magically enough, that's the word for today, for today's word, is holy. How about that? With the H. So in a minute, I'm going to go back and try to master the video monitors while Karen is doing the talk. So I'll disappear. We'll see how that works out. But the good news is that they're up and running right now, so you're here live. I discover wholeness everywhere and in everyone. Excuse me. Well, this is a Freudian slip. I discover holiness in everywhere and in everyone. I also discover the wholeness of everyone in everywhere. There is a certain place I visit where God's presence feels especially near, places that feel holy. These may include churches or other houses of worship, shrines, favorite places in nature. Any destination I become vividly aware of the divine presence is holy ground. I remember these words from the Prayer for Protection by Unity poet James Dillard Freeman. Wherever I am, God is. The divine presence I know lives within me. It is the true essence of my life and of every life. Today, my understanding expands. I discover divine presence is all around me and finding holiness everywhere. Every person is a holy being. Every place is holy ground. And from Genesis, then Jacob woke up from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And so it is, and
It's now time to open with the prayer for unity. And let's just know that as we breathe in light and love, that there is only one presence and one power in the midst of any experience, and that's God, God the good. All-knowing Spirit, in whom we live and move and have our being. We celebrate that Unity of Port Townsend is our spiritual home. We willingly and lovingly do that which is ours to do for the betterment of all. We pray and manifest goodness in faithful dedication to the path of the Christ. We give thanks that God is our instant, constant, and abundant source of supply. We live and move and have our being in harmonic unity with Spirit. We live and move and have our being in harmonic spirit with the world. And so it is. And now it's time for the Unity Singers, right?
Special music with some volunteers.
We
Singers
have some
today,
volunteers.
please come right up. Places. I'm not perfect, I'm not pure, but there's one thing I know for sure. Every minute of every day, God loves me anyway. Well, God loves me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God loves me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God loves me.
Mind,
Body and soul. Mind, body, and soul. Oh, God knows me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God knows me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God knows me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God frees me.
Mind, body, and
Oh,
soul.
God frees me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God frees me.
Mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God hears me. Oh, God hears me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God hears me.
Body and soul. Mind, body, and soul. Oh, God heals me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God heals me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God
hears me.
body and soul. Mind, body, and soul. One more time. Oh, God heals me.
Mind,
Body and soul. Oh, God heals me.
mind, body, and soul.
Oh, God
hears me.
body and soul. Mind, body, and soul. Mind, body, and soul. Thank you, thank you. Singers.
Let this begin. Let all of this wonderful spirit-filled messages and songs and everything begin right now. Today, I chose to share what I call Mind Body Healing 101, and then next week I will be speaking on Mind Body 102. These two talks that I've done are precursors to a workshop that I have done in the past on Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he has a book that is very popular, and we will be using that book study. We will be meeting at 9:30 on Sunday mornings, beginning the last Sunday in October, and then 3 more Sundays. And then after that, it'll be Thanksgiving. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. We just got summer. What's happening? I'm just thrilled to be here, and I'm going to share some experiences with you about my own mind-body healing that I went through. Just as Lisa Firestone shared her experiences last week. By the way, she sent me an email today, and she told me that Dispenza was in full bloom in Switzerland and had classes attending, had about 5,000 people attending his seminars. So he's back out in the world. The pandemic kind of put all of us on a shelf, and now things are coming slowly back. And isn't it wonderful to have that happening, to see more faces in the congregation every week? We have new members that joined during these rather restricted times. And Unity of Port Townsend is on its way back and up. I chose to speak on 101 and 102 because I was using this information with some churches that managed to stay open during the pandemic. And I thought that was very admirable. This one church it was called the Unity of the Olympics, or Unity of the Huachucas. And it was in Hereford, Arizona. And it was a spiritual group that had a nice church building and everything. They were waiting for a minister, and then the pandemic came along. But they managed to get back in gear after that first 6 weeks. And I spoke there about 10 times before I started to come up here, before I came up here. I came into the pandemic wondering what on earth was going to happen with me. 6 years ago, I joined a group called the All Is Well Institute out of Davis, California. And it was a group of teachers, ministers, and practitioners who all had the same common complaint. We were all dealing with chronic pain. So we came together on Zoom, and this was before the pandemic, and we shared our learnings with each other. And we were led by Reverend Sarah Nichols, who out of Davis, and we were all working on something that had been with us for a long time, and we were tired of it. So it was a wonderful experience. It became very close to these people, and as we all worked together, and one of the questions whenever we got together, we would ask, tell us how you're feeling. How are you being affected? What is appearing for you today? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And we would all share the answers to those questions. And it was a wonderful learning experience. We studied a number of different mind-body healers, the traditional ones that have always been with New Thought. And then we also studied some that I had never heard of before. I was not familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he's been all the rage for the past 5 to 7 years. And then there was another healer, mind-body healer, teacher, and his name was Dr. Maté. And Dr. Maté is a Canadian physician who has researched mind-body healing. But the interesting thing about Dr. Maté is that he was born in a Nazi death camp in the 1940s in World War II. He made a commitment that he would study the mind-body healing concept and study how stress affects our feelings, our beliefs, and everything that we are made up of, because 95% of us is hidden, just as David pointed out. It's in our subconscious. And there's that part that the whole world sees, and then there's the part that we want to become, but 95% of our thoughts, our feelings, everything is hidden in the subconscious. And Dr. Dispenza calls it the gap. One of the things that Dr. Gabor Mate mentioned in his book, When the Body Says No, exploring the stress-disease connection, is he quoted several studies in the preface to his book. One of them was this: a U.S. study found that women who are unhappily married and do not express their emotions have a greatly increased risk of death compared with similarly unhappy women who do not repress their feelings. Okay, women, get your voice out there. And then another comment that was in the preface of his book that impressed me, he said that Canadian research has shown that people abused in childhood have a nearly 50% increased risk of cancer in adulthood. Such data are manifestations of what the psychiatrist and the author Daniel Siegel has termed interpersonal neurobiology, known today as interpersonal biology. In New Thought, we just call it the mind-body experience, or the mind-body connection. David? I'm supposed to signal David whenever we move to another slide. We're not completely refined on this yet, but we're getting there. The general consensus in Mate's book, When the Body Says No, was that he had conducted some interviews, and the patients that he surveyed all were pretty much in agreement. The more specialized doctors become, the more they know about a body part or organ, and the less they tend to understand the human being in whom that part or organ resides. And as we advance medically in Western medicine, it's almost like the body is a vehicle or a robot. You know, there are body parts and all can be healed. It's wonderful, all the things that have been done in the advancement of scientific medicine. But occasionally, you know, the human part is left behind. And I know that doctors are really focusing right now on trying to make a change with all that. My doctor is an incredible person, and when I go into an appointment with her, she's got her computer out, it's on a stand, and she researches everything that comes from a diagnosis, and she's just a ton of information. I remember one time I misunderstood her, and some tears kind of came to my eyes, and she looked at me, and then, okay, so it was like, what do I do next? But she took her chair and she wheeled over to me and held my hand. So doctors are working on becoming what most of us want and expect when we're in a doctor's office. I remember in history and also in television and various videos that we see, there's always the old country doctor, you know, who knows all about the people in his area. He knows everything that's happening in their lives. And when he goes to see someone who's come down with an illness, he pretty much knows what kind of stress that person has been under. And just by knowing that, that led to some miraculous ways of healing. And the old country doctors were incredible in their ability to do that. I was fortunate in the fact that I had a counselor who was like the old country doctor. He actually had a small hospital that he had put together in Nebraska that had 9 beds in it. And it was his hospital. And he brought anyone in, who was challenged physically and brought them in. And he also worked with them on the emotions that these people were experiencing. He understood the stress that they were under. He later became a psychiatrist as well as a doctor and moved into a larger setting. But everybody in that community just loved him because he loved them and cared about them. We're so fortunate, though, that modern medicine has come up with so many ways that we can heal. It's even difficult to keep up with what is going on in the world today. Breaking a hip is no longer a death knell. Having a heart attack is no longer a very serious, very deep surgery. Having a hip or a knee or a shoulder that isn't working quite right, it can be repaired. It's amazing what's being done. Jane Fonda was on CBS Sunday morning, and she was talking about all her body parts that had been replaced. And it made me think of this idea that we are so fortunate that we have all this wonderful science going for us. But getting back to the other part, to the part where we actually began to look at ourselves and figure out what on earth we should be doing, in addition to Western science. And we have many mind-body practitioners right here in our congregation. Many of you have certain modalities that you can present to help people heal. And we're going to be celebrating all of those healing modalities when we have our Into the Mystic Fair this fall. One of the things that I learned about my own problem, I had a hip that just was always in pain. And it was that way for 50 years. I went to a summer camp one summer, and I don't know what happened, but I didn't want to be there. And so I developed this pain in my side, and it stayed with me for 50 years whenever I was challenged or stressed in any way. So I took that pain to the All Is Well Institute in Davis, California, this group of people who were working on their own problems. And one of the things that I found out or realized about as I was going through some of these exercises was that I had really grown up. I grew up as an organic, free-range kid. I grew up on 80 acres of a chicken ranch that my parents had decided to do. That they had a settlement, an insurance settlement, and they bought 80 acres. And during that time, my brothers were older and they left home, but they were kind of scary. They were big brothers and they were always correcting me and telling me when I was doing something wrong. They were parenting me along with the others. And so it was just a situation where I learned not to speak up very much. And so in the exercises that we did in the All Is Well Institute, we dug into the curable.com questions and found out what was holding us back and what emotions and longings had not been expressed. And I learned that I didn't speak out enough. So slide 3, despite breathtaking scientific advances in delineating that unity, we have not appreciated its implications and have not incorporated it into Western medical practice. People do not become ill despite their lives, but rather because of their lives. Our civilization has witnessed a succession of mind-body healers. The Fillmores of Unity, Ernest Holmes, Emma Curtis Hopkins. Emma Curtis Hopkins was the teacher of the Fillmores and of the Fillmores and Dr. Holmes. Eric Butterworth has also written a number of writings about mind-body healing as well as prosperity. Eric Butterworth quoted a statement in his writings. The patient, when he is sick, should send for a spiritual consultant as quickly as he sends for his doctor. And in slide number 4, I think I've gotten off track. The opioid crisis has made a difference in how we medicate and what other healing methods have come into being. We know that the pharmaceutical industry is taking advantage of the many chronic pain sufferers. We all know life includes not only physical factors like diet, physical activity, and the environment, it also includes the internal milieu of thoughts and unconscious emotions that govern so much of our physiology. Thought governs the mechanisms of stress and the unity of the systems that modulate nerves, hormones, immunity, digestion, and cardiovascular function. The principles of mind-body healing has been a part of New Thought Ministries for over 150 years. So why is a relative newcomer like Dr. Joe Dispenza so popular? What has made what he teaches different? What he teaches, what he has taught is not anything really all that new, but he's added one new ingredient. He's added the ingredient of having neuroscientists brain map the people who have experienced healings. I find this very encouraging because it told me that meditation and the many tools we use in New Thought is a very valid way of changing the way we think and the way we feel. And by incorporating both science and faith, this art of meditation allows us to go beyond just the boundary of Western science healing. It makes us a partner in our healing. Because we incorporate science and faith and put them together, and that brings out what we need to know. If you want to go back to the gap, David, that's slide number 3. Here again, this slide is part of the Dispenza workshop, and it shows how 95% of ourself is buried. No one sees it. And these feelings of guilt, anger, shame, fear, and anxiety can influence how we feel and how we heal. Next slide. Now there's three different kinds of healing that we have to do. Where there are three stressors that come along. One is chemical stressors, when we're exposed to toxic chemicals, or maybe we're doing alcohol and drugs. Another another part of that is structural. If you break a leg, you're not going to go to a mind-body healer first, are you? You're going to go to someone who can put you back together quickly. Okay. I want to mention something about Dispenza because some of you may not know his history. And let's just stay right where we are, David, for now, okay? Oh, wow. Dr. Joe Dispenza has been mentioned, and it has appeared in a number of movies that are about mind-body healing. And one of the most recent ones is the movie Heal. And in that movie, he mentions his own personal experience. He was in a marathon, a triathlon, and he was hit by a Bronco, a car, and thrown up in the air. And he landed with 6 injuries to his spine. And with these, and he found himself flat face down on a gurney. And the doctors were going to operate on him and fuse those 6 vertebrae so that he would be in a wheelchair the rest of his life, but he would be alive and he wouldn't be experiencing so much pain. Dr. Dispenza was a chiropractor, and he knew the parts of the body really well and had worked with numerous people as a chiropractor before he got into all this mind-body stuff. And one of the things that he did is he said, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to lie here, and I'm going to do visioning. I'm going to visualize my spine healing. I know exactly what it looks like, what those parts look like, and I'm going to see those parts healthy and whole. And by visualizing what he wanted, he eventually, and it took him 6 weeks, he eventually, worked on this until he got to the point where he could, he began to have feelings in his knees and everything, and all of this was coming together for him. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. And as these body parts started to suddenly he began to get feeling in his spine, and he knew that there was a possibility that he would be able to walk again. And within 10 weeks of doing these meditations that he has designed and this program that he created, he was walking. And one of the most important points that he makes in the program is that your personality creates your personal reality. In other words, we have to think about what we want to be. We have to act as if it's already happened, and we have to remember or make up a memory or feel what it's going to be like, so that the new self, the future self, is the personal reality, and it creates a new state of being. Next slide, David. So you can control your destiny. You can control your destiny by by just working, by doing these meditations, and we're going to be doing one of the meditations today. We did it 2 weeks ago. Lisa did it with you today and last week, and I'm going to be doing that with you today. I don't know why I'm so shaky today. You're all wonderful people. There's no reason for me to be shaking like this, but I guess it's just thinking about doing this so much for so long, getting back into it and doing it is such a joy. And also to know that I too used this program to help me get better. It's so important. So you control your destiny by doing these meditations. We'll be doing a sample of one today. And I'm having trouble seeing the clock. How did we get to this time?
12.
Huh?
5 minutes to 12.
5 minutes to 12. Okay. How did that happen? It really made me nervous. Okay. You control your destiny. And then Dispenza asks these questions. Can you believe in a future that you cannot see or experience with your senses, but you have thought about enough times in your mind that it is now wired in your brain? And can you emotionally embrace a future potential before the actual experience so many times that you emotionally condition your body to reflect that new mind by signaling new genes in new ways? We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an action, but a habit. You have to feel empowered for your success to show up. You have to feel abundant for your wealth to find you. And David used these words this morning. You have to feel gratitude to create the life that you want. Knowledge is power, but knowledge about yourself is self-empowerment. Develop the spiritual practice of meditation on a daily basis. Dispenza sets aside 2 hours a day for meditation, no matter what time zone he is in. He may not need all that time, but he does not get up until he has experienced a change. The one thing that I know in the workshops that I've conducted, I have a number of people who've been through the Dispenza program, and they come back in when we do the workshops because they want to recharge. It's very easy to get all excited about an idea and do the practice for the length of the class or the length of the workshop, and then kind of go on to the next event, the next class. And what I was finding that a lot of people were coming back and studying and reviewing this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And we will have 4 weeks of that going on in our new 9:30 Sunday morning classes. It's kind of like the old idea of Sunday school, isn't it? One thing that I saw that I pulled out of the movie Heal. They had something in here. It says 9 of the most effective mind-body healing modalities. And they made a list. 2 of them were medical and the rest were mind-body. 1, take control of your health. 2, follow your intuition. And 3, release suppressed emotions. And 4, increase positive emotions. Toxic ideas create toxic chemicals create disease. And another line, embrace spiritual support. Deepen your spiritual connection. with spirit and have strong reasons for living. If you're going to have any type of remission from something that is considered really deadly, you've got to have a very strong will to live. Okay, let's just take a moment. We are running late. I do apologize for that. And let's look at the prayer that Dispenza's written. And he uses it consistently. It's important that you remain with the structure in order to feel and experience the results. So let's just take a moment and close our eyes. And take a few deep, slow breaths to relax your mind and your body. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Make your breaths long, slow, and steady. And rhythmically inhale and exhale until you move into this present moment. When you are in the moment, you are entering a world of possibility, a world of recognition. And in this moment, silently affirm that you are spirit. Breathe normally. And absorb these words. I am dedicated to discovering my total mindfulness. I reside in the presence. I function as pure consciousness with no body, appearing as no one, as no thing, in no time. I am absolute pure light, pure love, pure energy. And I know that that powerful intelligence within me, that intelligence which gives me life, which loves me so much, that when my will matches its will, when my mind matches its mind, when my love for life matches its love for me, it always responds. It will move in me and all around me, and I will see the evidence in my life as a result of my efforts. To be greater than my environment, to be greater than the conditions in my life, to be greater than the feelings that are memorized in the body, to think greater than the body, to be greater in time, means that I am tugging on the garment of the divine. My destiny, then, is a reflection of, a co-creation with, a greater mind. I must learn to love myself enough to do this. And then there are steps about projecting just exactly what it is you want to become. But first, I need to recognize what feeling is holding me back. Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it something else? And I know that as I release this feeling, this emotion, I give it to Infinite Mind, and I ask Infinite Mind to take it from me and resolve this emotion into a greater sense of wisdom, and to free myself from the chains of the past, and to be able to envision a future that is beyond understanding, beyond belief, miraculous, loving, and brings wholeness into my life, in mind, body, and spirit. And so it is. David, you want to close out the ceremony? thank you all for praying me through this. I don't know what happened. But let's close out. Which song would you like to play, Clara? Okay, let's do that.
Shanti, Shanti, let it begin with me. Shanti, Shanti, let it begin with me. Trusting, 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 let it begin with me. Trusting, trusting, let it begin with me. Loving, 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 let it begin with me. Loving, loving, let it begin with me. Healing, 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 let it begin with me. Healing, healing, let it begin with me.
Yes, let it begin with me. And as we take out our offering, we prepare ourselves for receiving an offering. Excuse me. It does begin with me and you. It revolves around me and you. So let that be our mantra for the week as we stand on holy ground wherever we may be. And our offertory song, was that it, Claire? That's not. I didn't think so. Yeah, I've got to put you back in. I know it's kind of hard to multitask it. Yes, grateful. Oh, perfect.
Oh, well, there it is. There it
There
is.
you are.
Magic. Okay, and you know this, all that I am. All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all. All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been, and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all. Na 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 na. my gratitude goes out to everything near and far. All that I am, all that I see, all that I've been and all that I'll ever be is a blessing. It's so amazing, and I'm grateful for it all, for it all.
As we receive these gifts, we bless them. Divine love, Spirit, God, creation, universe, as me, is this individual organism, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive in this great mosaic circular event called life. And I am grateful. So we receive these gifts with the intention that each person may experience the fullness of life, know their source, know their responsibility, be able to respond, be able to find that place within themselves where Spirit, God, the divine exists, and from that place live forward, creating a world that works for all, heaven on earth in our lifetime. And so it is. Amen.
It is.
All right. So now we get to do the announcements. Hold on, Karen. No gong yet. No gong yet? Well, I don't know. I may get the hook and a gong at the same time. You notice how I slipped in our blessing for the right? Yeah, well, that's because I missed it at the beginning. Anyways, so we've got a couple of announcements coming up. Everything is generally on the website. And I was going to highlight what's not on the website, but I guess I'm not. There was, there's something coming up. Oh, we're going to do here it is. We're going to do a labyrinth walk over on Bainbridge Island. The Labyrinthian Adventure. Ooh, how's that? Adventuring? Yeah. Labyrinthian Adventuring. Boy, they got to make it easier for me up here. Anyway, it's coming up on the 24th, I think. Yes, Wednesday the 24th, 2 weeks. So you get another heads up next week. 10 o'clock, we're going to carpool and head out to Bainbridge Island for a walk in the labyrinth. We've got Jan standing up in the back. Okay, Mystic Fair, Into the Mystic. Okay, so Karen alluded to it. We've got this event called Into the Mystic, and Jan's in the back in case you have any questions about how you can participate as a volunteer. She's the lady to see. And so if she grabs you and gives you a big hug with a pen in her hand, you'll know why. Thank you, Jan, for doing that. I appreciate it. Is there anything else you want me to say about that? I got the signs. Let's see. We got kirtans. We've got the Buddhist meditation. We got a kirtan going on here. The Ananda meditation groups. So the building's got a lot of stuff available for you, and you feel free to just stop in and join with them at any point in time. There's a Buddhist teacher, and he's teaching, Buddhist principles, obviously. But he's got a group in the back and the hearth room. It's set up for it. Again, you can just drop in if you're just curious about how those things all put together. And that's all on the website. So, and with that, I think I'll get off the stage. I do want to remind everybody of the prayer box in the back of the sanctuary. We have Unity was founded on prayer, on the power of prayer to heal. That was its basis. It was never meant to be a church. It was meant to be a school to learn about these principles taught by Jesus. And that was what its foundation was. And it turned into a church and into a movement all by itself. But the prayer box back there, we have these little slips of paper. If you have something heavy on your heart, something you want to let go of, the best way to do it, so there's kind of like 3 ways to do it. 1, I can think it's gone. 2, I can write it down, or I can think about it. I can write it down, or I can speak it. And there's 3 different levels of power into that. So you can pray silently, you can release with your writing, or you can release with your words. And normally we have prayer chaplains available on Sunday to pray with you, and I'm one of them, and I'd be happy to do that today following service. It's a service that we do, but it's a service because it works. Stuff that Karen talked about works. And it's making that available to each one of us so that we can have a full and abundant and joyful life. That's what it's all about. So use the prayer box. Feel free to use that. Your prayer requests will be prayed on by the church for a week, and then we send it on to Silent Unity for 30 days additional prayer. And Lane has a short message, really short. Is it pertinent to the service, or is it something we do in the closing circle?
And Pam sends her love, and she said she is here in spirit. She is down in Olympia attending a spiritual retreat for furthering education. She is visiting today at the request of John English and unknowing to David, to visit Reverend Roy Wilson, who is the spiritual leader of a tribe in Chehalis, is it? Cowlitz. So she is in tune with that. He had a fall this last week after celebrating his 95th birthday. He is back on his feet after 3 visits to the hospital, and he is doing a service at the lodge there today, and Pam is planning to attend. So she's holding him in the high watch, asking you to hold him in the high watch as well, because he is one of the mentors to this church and to her and to David.
Yes, he's a shaman and a Methodist minister. So he's a spiritual leader of the Cowlitz tribe and also the Methodist minister, and he brings all that together in his teachings. It's pretty amazing. So with that, I think we're ready to make a closing circle, huh? Should we try that? Okay. We can voice. There we go.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator, united all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is our moment now. With every breath I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
And we know the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And as the light of God we shine, and as the love of God we embrace, and as the power of God we stand in truth, and as the presence of God we endeavor to express our divinity in all that we do. So Karen, would you be so kind as to strike the gong, and we'll blow out the candle, knowing that the smoke from the candle is our prayers going up to the Great Spirit.